Viva! Oh, the Anthem podcast. This is Corey.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Sorry, as you may or may not know, our intro comes directly from
The Anthem.
the National Anthem. So I just feel a need, whenever possible, to just take a knee now. That's
Just
that is
that
what
going to be
it
your
is.
new thing every single week? You're just taking the knee?
I mean, I started out by just sitting during the anthem and playing on my phone, but now I think we're just going to take a knee all the time. So, but we'll get to that. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to episode 181 of the Anthem podcast. It is 8:31 Pacific time. That makes it 11:31 Eastern time. And the Anthem is live from coast to coast on Facebook. I know we made you some promises about being on YouTube, but this weekend got a little interesting, and because of that, we are recording a little late. We're doing a hashtag OTA After Dark this week.
We sure are.
So we will be on YouTube next week. Next week we'll be prepared for that, so make sure you join us live on YouTube next week. But for now, we're here. And
probably doing it. I was thinking about this too. If we were going to do it on YouTube this week with the late hours and the pushing the deadline, then it would be maybe a smaller looking audience.
Sure.
So, I mean, we can still expect that a little bit here, but it's nice to see that we got people coming in, joining the show. So
we already have 5 people in the room watching the live stream of the podcast right now. So, hey, as a reminder, if you want to be part of the show, keep those notifications on on Facebook, so you know when we go live for the episodes or otherwise. You can come in and join us on the podcast, comment in the stream, or text the listener line. What's that number?
443-219-7595.
And we'll have those live on the podcast. But yes, we are live from coast to coast, coming to you from beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California, from the hashtag OTA LA Studios, high above the 110 freeway.
In Los Angeles, California. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for reviewing wherever reviews can be done.
Absolutely.
It helps the social proof of this podcast, and we appreciate every little bit of it.
Oh, and boy, do we have some social proof. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later on. We want to start out tonight with kind of a heavy topic.
Just something serious up front.
Yeah.
Obviously, hurricane season has caused much damage.
Yes.
There was a lot of call for charity for the people of Houston and the people of South Florida. But right now, sort of tragically undermined is Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Which was complete. I mean, if you haven't seen the footage coming from the island, it is. Roads are ripped up. All infrastructure is gone. Electricity is out in most of the island still.
Have you seen the satellite footage, the nighttime satellite footage?
No.
So the Caribbean, you may not think of it this way, but it is very modern. There's lights and there's fires and there's many things, right? So when you see it at night, you would think that it would be very bright and it would be sharp and you'd be able to see it. But the most recent satellite footage is so telling, because in this spot where there should be this bright American protectorate where American citizens live, there is a dark hole because they have zero electricity. They have no cell service. They have no internet. There's no way to get the message out. It's just a complete tragedy. It's almost a total loss.
Yeah, and it's going to take a long time for Puerto Rico to recover.
Yeah.
And you may be saying, why do you feel the need to point out yet another natural disaster? Because people are ignoring the fact that Puerto Rico is completely fucked at the moment. So if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you have some money that you can contribute to a worthy charity that'll help Puerto Rico dig out. They need it because they've been begging the government for any kind of assistance they can get to try and A, help people in the very short term, and B, help in the overall recovery.
Right.
And I don't want us to go any further in this episode without giving our expressions of love and support to the people of Puerto Rico. Hang in there. It'll get better. And to anybody who feels like being charitable and helping out, there are many good causes that I'm sure you can find easily.
Absolutely.
Just try and avoid the Red Cross, I guess. Because
avoid the Red Cross. I mean, we've talked. It feels strange because it feels like every single week we're talking about another part of America hit by another storm that's decimated it. But what we don't see is we're not seeing celebrities going out and saying, hey, you know, what happened after Harvey with J.J. Watt raising $3 million in 2 weeks for Harvey.
And don't get me wrong. I'm not, this is, obviously J.J. Watt has a connection to Houston.
Yes, yeah.
Which is why he started that. And any charity that is given to anybody suffering through a natural disaster is worthwhile.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it almost feels like a little bit of fatigue, and I don't mean this to downplay the kindness of people when committing to charities that help people recover after incidents like this. But like it was wall to wall in Harvey, and it was wall to wall Irma. And I mean, Irma is what really did this, but I'm saying like it was wall to wall in Houston, in Florida, and then sort of very little conversation about Puerto Rico compared to how destroyed the whole thing is.
I have to go back to this. Like, one of my writing projects that I've been working on is a sitcom about Puerto Ricans living in America, on the mainland. And it's so hard to describe this thing because one of the underlying themes of that show is that every person born on the island of Puerto Rico is an American citizen.
Yes.
They are just like anyone else. They can freely travel back and forth, but they are somehow treated differently, not just in the minds of Americans, because we don't see Puerto Rico as being American, but the people are begging the government to send help. When did that happen in Florida or in Louisiana or in, Houston?
Things, despite the fact that the government is, shall we say, a clusterfuck at the moment,
right?
There's still managed to be support that was going out.
Absolutely,
FEMA was still doing things, and again, obviously the destruction in Houston and the destruction in the Keys and stuff like that was really bad, but Puerto Rico is in desperate need. So,
yes. And I have to say, listening back, for those of you who have been following along on social media. Of course, at LegendCB5, at Robert N. Cheek, and of course at The Anthem for the whole show. I've been doing hashtag OTA flashback and listening back through all of the episodes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ironic because at the end of last week, I got to the episode where I was in Puerto Rico, and I was coming live from Puerto Rico, which was really us recording before I took that trip. But
recording from Puerto Rico, much like I was recording from Montana.
Exactly, yeah. Which is the one I listened to today, actually. But so, like 3 years ago, I was in San Juan, and to hear the mayor of San Juan and the governor of Puerto Rico talk about, the island state that was here is not the one that we're going to have after this storm. It's completely changed. It's completely decimated. One, it makes me want to go back. I don't know I don't think there's any help at this point because tourists can't really help, I guess. But it's like, when you're ready, let me come back. Let me see what has changed, and let me give my tourist dollars to you.
Right.
And I can tell you, it's a fantastic place to visit. Like, if you want the complete Caribbean experience, we went off the beaten path. We got a villa out in the countryside, private beach, the whole nine. Mm-hmm. But then you drive 45 minutes and you're in San Juan, and it's like you're in any small American city. It could be Baltimore if Baltimore was 500 years old.
Yeah.
And the mix is perfect. Everyone speaks English, and you can also practice your Spanish. And they don't laugh. I mean, they do laugh at you, but they let you practice.
Yeah, they go like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, but they work with you. Like, everyone,
right.
When they see the white face and they see me trying with Spanish, they're very patient, and they're just like, it's a kind of thing where, like, at least he's trying. He's trying. He sees that all the signs are in Spanish.
It's like the Family Guy bit where he's just like, hola, mi amo Brian. It's like, that was actually really good, but you want to do mi amo Ryan.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you speak English. No, just that sentence and this one explaining it. What, really? Gay?
Yeah. So I had a fantastic time on the island. I'd encourage everyone, once things are back up and running, to go there and help support. And another thing that you can do to help support is to call your senators, your congresspeople, and say, what are we doing to help American citizens living on the island of Puerto Rico?
Right.
Why are we not helping them more? Because unless there's attention brought to it, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
So that is your mission for this week. We're going to have a lot of fun in this episode and have a lot of anger too. But this is our heartfelt call to you to please reach out and help any way that you can. But much like our talks about Irma and Harvey and every storm, basically, it's not a recommendation to give to the Red Cross. Find a good local charity. The information is out there, especially Twitter is the best place you can go. You can find so much information there.
I can't remember the name of the site that I use offhand, but there's like a charity rater site, which will show you how much of the money that you contribute goes to the causes at hand. And if nothing else, you can always donate to things that are going to be busy in the aftermath. Food banks and clothing shelters and anything where people would, I don't want to say like hostels, but like any place where people would go and live in the time between getting their home back. These are all.
But, the story came out this week about how the Red Cross with $500 million built 6 houses in Haiti. And the things in Puerto Rico were bad before this storm. They're talking about declaring bankruptcy. They're looking for state. They
were doing that before, looking for.
and now the island's decimated, and none of those problems go away. But the help from the American government isn't coming either. So do what you can personally, and make sure you call your congressmen, call your senators, and ask why American citizens are suffering and why they don't seem to care very much, because they have other things that they're worried about. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the podcast today. So up next, though, we do want to talk about, if you have been following on social media, again,
good on
Instagram,
you.
Instagram, Twitter, Facebook have been lively this weekend. And this is the point where we have to say a big thank you to all of you guys, because our weekend could have gone one of two directions. It could have been bad from the start and gotten worse, or it could have been bad at the start and then gone fantastically. And luckily, thanks to all of you,
it went fantastically.
Yeah. So do you want to rehash kind of what the scenario was there?
All right. So I guess first off, travel tip. For if you're going to Vegas, you're always going with 2 people.
Yes.
Unless for whatever reason you're like trying to like book like, a massive suite or something like that. Or, if you have the money to throw away, then fine, by all means. But if you go to a website like hotels.com, which I use, and you type in that you have 2 people traveling with you, then they're going to give you a resort fee for the 2 people.
Right.
If you say that you have 4 people traveling with you or 6 people, then they're going to charge you the same amount for the room, but they're going to charge you an additional fee for all the resort fees for each person that joins in.
Yeah.
So when we go to Vegas, it's always 2 people officially.
Well, and I don't feel bad about it, because I don't think we've ever used any of the things in the resort.
Right.
We don't go to the pool. We don't go to the spa. We don't do anything. We literally just want the room to sleep in.
Yeah.
And maybe entertain.
Well,
briefly,
I mean, like just a place to like, like if there's an hour between like when we get back to the hotel and when we have to start getting ready, like we'll hang out for an hour and chill and just relax.
But nothing in the hotel itself. There's all the things the resort fees are for. We don't use any of them. So I don't feel bad.
And resort fees are also like trying to add on. I mean, at this point, when I first went to Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Vegas was very cheap.
Yeah.
You got cheap alcohol. You got cheap food. The rooms were all cheap. And the idea was everyone's coming here to gamble.
Right.
So let's make everything that isn't gambling as cheap as humanly possible so they have more money for gambling. Because when you go to Vegas, you say, I have $1,000 to spend. This wasn't true for me. I was very broke. But I'm saying, like, most people would say, like, I have $1,000 to spend on my Vegas vacation. And it's like, all right, well, I'm paying $400 for the room.
Right.
Okay, so that's $600 left. But now I got $600.
Yeah.
And then, you're buying Fat Tuesdays for like $18 a pop.
Woo. Yes. Yeah.
Or a $50 buffet or anything like this. It quickly takes away from the $1,000 that you have, and you have less money to gamble. The old Vegas logic was, let's keep people with as much money to gamble as possible. And now new Vegas logic, where people go there just for the fun and not the gambling, is just charge whatever the fuck you feel like because.
Yeah. Well, and it used to be that the resort fees subsidize a lot of that. We have a cheap buffet, but we're going to charge a resort fee because it's going to subsidize.
But we're gonna charge a $20 resort fee as opposed to a $60 resort fee. Anywho,
and everything's expensive now because nobody gambles.
Right.
And guilty. I think I maybe put $2 in a single slot machine while I was waiting for people in the bathroom. That was the extent of my gambling. But I'm not. I don't go to Vegas for the gambling. I go for the fun and for everything else. So anyway, book with 2. That's our tip for the day.
And of course, we only had 2 people staying with us.
Yes. No. Well, it was just you and I.
Yeah, just me and you walking up front.
Yeah.
And I had so it was a busy weekend in Vegas. There were a couple things going on. The iHeartRadio Festival, one of them.
Mm-hmm. Life is Beautiful Festival was there as well.
Yep. So hotels were a little bit leaner than they usually are if you were going a normal weekend. But
you also did book late.
Well, not that late. I mean, like a month out though.
The plan to go, hey, we're going to go to Vegas, and the actual booking of the hotel room were 4 months apart, probably.
Oh, I don't know if it was that long.
I think March was the first mention.
Because there was a lot of stalling about like when are we going.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
So
yes. Yeah. But it was a month out. It wasn't unreasonable, but you would get much better rates if it would have been a little further out.
Possibly. I mean, on this weekend, yes. Yeah. But most weekends, it's best to wait until the last minute because then the hotels get a little bit nervous if like 2 weeks before this weekend they still have like 60% occupancy.
Right.
The rates start going down a little bit. But we go there. I book this room at the Flamingo because it has a couch.
Right.
And with our 2 people, we can each have a queen bed and then a couch for entertaining.
For entertaining people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly not for sleeping on.
Of course not.
And we go. I go check in the hotel, go up to the room, and every picture that I had looked at when booking this showed 2 queen beds and a couch.
Yes.
We walk in, there's no couch.
Right.
There's an empty space on the floor where a couch would hypothetically be.
Yes.
But instead, there's a chair.
Also, not part of the complaint, but the pictures showed a room that was renovated probably 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And we were in a room that was renovated probably 10 years ago. Like, there was a much bigger difference.
It looked similar, but I mean, like, that part is the least of my concern. Like,
okay, I agree, yeah.
I mean, I don't need the newest room if it looks basically the same as what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like one of those, like, if you go on a date with somebody, like if you're Tindering, and you see 5 pictures of them all looking amazing,
right?
And then they show up for the date, and you're just like, oh well, they're not quite as beautiful as they were on the thing, but you know what? I can tell that this is the person.
Yes.
They just picked the 5 best pictures, like the picture of you with the selfie light in the MGM.
Oh yeah, that's a good picture.
Yeah.
It is.
You don't look that well lit all the time. So if you showed up at a date, you obviously wouldn't be as well lit, but one could expect there to be a little bit of fabrication there.
Sure.
But there was no light tricks with the couch. It was just not there.
Couch. We had a very small chair.
Yeah. So I went back down. I called the front desk and asked about where my couch was. Mm-hmm. And they said, not all those rooms have couches. I'm like, well, I booked it for the couch.
Yeah.
What can be done? And he's like, oh, you'll have to come down and talk to the manager. Which is like, okay. So I go down and then I stand in line.
Yeah.
And then I get to the front and then I ask for the guy, like, can I speak to the manager? And then I get the nth degree, like, why do you need the manager? Just like, I was told to come down and talk to the manager. Can you just go fucking get him? And then I waited there for 10 minutes for him to come around.
Yeah.
And then this guy, I think, was I feel like the stick that was up his butt must have broken or something like that because he was extra agitated.
Okay.
Maybe just had to deal with some drunks or like whatever the case may be.
It is Vegas, yeah.
Yeah. But I come up like, listen, I don't recommend that people complain all the time because it does break the spirits of the people who work at the place.
Right. Yeah.
I knew, and you can tell too when people are coming up to complain, just to complain, just to get something out of the deal.
Yeah.
If I went down there and said the light socket was cracked, like, this isn't what I paid for. Like, you know, you're not getting anything out of that.
Yeah.
Like,
but I asked for a damn couch.
Right.
And there's no couch.
Right. It's a little bit of a bigger deal.
Yeah.
But this guy's like, no, nothing I can do. And I'm like, okay, well, Flamingo is owned by Caesars. So there's like 15 other casinos that are all owned by Caesars.
Right.
Do you have one anywhere that has 2 queen beds and a couch? Because that's all I need.
Yeah.
That's the reason I booked this room. He's like, well, I mean, I guess you could call all of them and find out. I'm like, here's what happens. I call somebody. I say like, oh yeah, I found out that Planet Hollywood has 2 queens and a couch.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, book with Planet Hollywood and we'll cancel this. No.
That's not the point.
Because then I have to pay for a Planet Hollywood room
while
and then
yours on my credit card.
wait like probably 7 to 10 days to get the entire value of my booking bet. Like at this point, it's a no-win. There's no way I can float an extra room at this point.
Right.
And we were all pretty upset.
Yes.
As one would be at this.
Although I dealt with it in truly Vegas fashion.
By drinking?
Poured myself a whiskey and just started drinking until it was funny. So if you follow me on Snapchat, you got to enjoy that. Hey.
But we started tweeting and I called hotels.com.
Mm-hmm.
And here's I booked it with hotels.com. I did it specifically for the couch.
Yeah.
And I get on the phone with somebody from the site, and she goes on and she's like, I don't see the couch in this picture. I'm just like, I'm literally looking at it right now. There's 3 pictures. 2 of them have the couch in it.
Yeah.
One of them is from the perspective of somebody sitting on the couch. Like they set up the tripod and they sat on the couch and they took their picture.
Yeah.
Like this is not. I'm not a crazy person. There's couch pictures on this.
I'm
and
not seeing
nowhere
it.
on the listing did it say like couch optional. Maybe not.
Right.
Room may not have couch or anything like that.
Yeah. It does say the room may not look exactly like the pictures.
Right.
Which I've dealt with before. The carpet is different.
Yeah.
The view outside, not the same.
Yeah, yeah.
These are small things that are okay.
Yeah.
Missing the piece of furniture that's in every single picture.
Right.
That's much different.
Yeah. And basically it boiled down to one of 2 options. I could take a $60 credit that they were offering me,
right,
which I could use towards my next booking. Not $60 refunded to me or anything, but just $60 for a future booking. Or I could have special investigations look into it.
Right.
And I said to the woman when she said that, what does special investigations mean? What good comes from this?
Yes.
And then she started going off and it's like, well, we'll find out when special investigations gets into it. And again, it's just like a lawyer with somebody with a hostile witness on the stand.
Yes.
Who's not answering questions. You got to just keep hammering them with the same thing over and over again until they answer.
Yeah.
And my choice in how to handle this was to start making Law and Order Special Victims Unit jokes.
Yes. Yeah.
So she would say things like, I was like, so what happens once Marissa Hargitay gets on the case?
No, wait. Now, the woman on the phone, clearly an American somewhere who would understand that joke.
No, not at all. Though at one point, I furthered the joke into Law and Order. What's the other one? Criminal Intent.
Right. Yes.
I was like, so again, what happens when Law and Order Criminal Intent gets involved? And she was just like a little snicker. I was like, maybe she's seen that one.
Yeah, maybe that one.
Maybe SVU doesn't travel to India, but this one does.
Oh, topic matter? Probably not okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe that's a smart one.
Because it's all sexually based.
Yeah. So.
Who knows?
Anyway.
Anywho, I kept having to ask. Like, I must have asked 15 times, like, what does this involve?
Mm-hmm.
And she wouldn't tell me. So I basically ended up with the thing of, like, I'm going to either take the $60 that they're giving me in credit, or...
Which, by the way, what was it for?
What?
The $60 credit. What was it for? Do you remember?
Oh, like for future hotels.com bookings?
Right. It was to get a rollaway bed, essentially.
Like, oh, yeah. She kept saying, oh, we can get you a rollaway bed. And at this point, I still have to play the... it's just me and Rob staying in this room. So I keep saying things like, it doesn't help entertain my family if there's a roll. Like, is everyone going to sit on the rollaway bed? Like, it's not a couch.
I'm going to bring my parents into this hotel room?
I'm going to bring my parents in, get a free rollaway so they can sit on it. Like, no. But it was left with the credit or let SVU handle it.
Yeah.
And I said, fine, just let SVU handle it, even though it was the mystery box.
Right.
It was, I'm going to give you $60 now or the contents of the mystery box.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll just go in the mystery box. We'll see what's up.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I guess there was an outlier chance. I didn't think it was likely, but there was an outlier chance that more than $60 would be like refunded to me.
Maybe the whole thing.
Because
they do have a satisfaction guarantee, which we researched and found out that they have up to 60 days to make you satisfied.
Yeah.
So that's not exactly
So, I mean,
the same
maybe
thing.
in 2 months I get $500, but you know, it's better than nothing.
But nonetheless, so then what we did is we turned...
And then I quickly have to like divvy out all that to everybody.
Get everybody the money back? Yeah. Or just not tell us that they gave it back. Just tell us like, oh, no, nothing ever came back. But
I said, what came of this investigation? And I just heard on the other end, dun dun.
But so after having struck out with the hotel and having struck out with hotels.com, we turned to all of you out there.
Yes.
And boy, did you show up. We put the tweet out, and we liked and shared the tweet.
The tweet, again, for the record.
Yes,
was,
go ahead.
Hold on. Let me pull up the actual. Keep going.
So we tweeted out. I recorded some videos, put them on Facebook, put them on Snapchat, put it on Instagram, everywhere I could think to put it, and just asked that everybody kind of help us out by responding. And we've never asked our fandom to flex before, but we flexed and you guys responded, and boy, did it certainly help. But
the tweet in question. If you're ever thinking about staying at the Flamingo Vegas, think again. Getting hit by a car is a more pleasant experience.
Now keep that up. So
Yes.
we go out. It's now 2:00 in the morning or so.
Yeah.
But luckily it's Vegas, so
People
there's
are
things
up.
to do.
That tweet happened at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
The response from the Flamingo happened the next morning.
Right. So we go out, and I think we went to did we just go to Fat Tuesday at that point? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Walked
at,
down to Planet
at
Hollywood.
Planet Hollywood.
Went to the Fat Tuesday. Got my Fat Tuesday, which is for guys who haven't followed along with this podcast for 3 years, is utterly important.
Mm-hmm.
The very first thing we do when we get to Vegas is get a Fat Tuesday.
Many people put money on red or black or whatever just to see how the weekend's going to go.
Fat Tuesday.
Fat Tuesday is our number one stop.
Yes, absolutely. And I missed staying at the MGM when we walked through there, and I saw that there's one in the hotel. I forgot about that. So we went and got Fat Tuesday, and then by then it was like 3:30 in the morning. So it's like, all right, let's regroup.
Yeah, let's go to bed.
You and I are going to be sleeping tomorrow, so let's sleep in. We have enough room for us. We're not going to be entertaining tonight, so let's just go to sleep and conquer this thing in the morning. But they respond. Yeah, let's go ahead and what did you hear about in the morning? Let me read this over here.
Basically a response from the Flamingo, because I tagged them in it.
Yes.
We apologize for any disappointment, Corey. What was the name of your reservation? I wasn't going to get into all that on the public Twitter.
But what I told you to do.
I DM'd them.
Right. I said, hey, just DM me to get details.
And then we went back and forth on it, and I explained the whole situation. I booked it for the couch. There was no couch. The night manager, I don't know, might have just been in the middle of a divorce or something like that and was not in the mood to do anything for anybody. And they said, okay, we'll send it to the hotel and you'll get a call back. I'm just like, great. So I'm going to hear from the same manager who I just called a dick.
Yeah.
Like, I heard what you said about me on fucking Twitter. Like, now you're getting nothing. Now we're moving you to a smaller room.
Yes.
Yours was booked.
We rebooked you.
We
Sorry.
rebooked you.
Down to the basement.
Yeah.
You're in amongst the heating vents.
We cleared out a parking space. We put up walls. Enjoy your stay in Vegas, dick.
Right.
But I got a call a short time later.
Yeah.
From Justin Prince.
Yes.
And what a prince.
His name enough.
What a prince.
Yes, he was. Justin Prince.
He said, I heard about your experience. I'm really sorry to hear about it.
No, wait. How did he hear about our experience?
Because he said, I've just been informed from my social media team that this has caused quite a stir on the internet.
Now, that is thanks to all of you guys. So thank you so much for creating quite a stir on social media so that they had to address it.
Yes. And he said, so I just got a room all set for you. I'd like to upgrade you for free, and we'll send that along. Yeah. Or we'll move you. And I was just like, all right, well, I'm not there right now, but I'll come back. And
yeah, usually we would be entertaining on our couch, but instead we had to go to someone else's room. Yeah. Sorry.
Where they had a couch.
But
Rob and I go back.
Yeah.
And what should have been nap time to prepare for the next morning where we were going to watch the Ravens.
And it really threw off the whole next 24 hours. But nonetheless.
We go back. Rob and I pack up everything, and we start bringing it up to the 23rd floor. And the room was majestic.
Now, and so, first of all,
you gotta if you haven't checked it out, the video of us doing the tour is on YouTube.
Yes,
youtube.com/Oh the Anthem. I strongly suggest you see what elegance looks like.
Yes. Now, and when we first walked into the lobby to get the keys to the upgrade room, I saw this huge line like out of the gates and just waiting. And this is not. No matter what is going to happen, I'm going to be upset about this line. But then you notice that there's a sign over this wall.
He told me to go to the
I don't know, but he told you to go there. I didn't know where it was, but there's a wall. And here's the thing you don't know. There are secret places to check in that you don't know about because you walk up to this wall.
If you're a VIP.
Yeah. You walk up to this wall and grab this little handle and pull, and the wall opens up, and we go inside, and there's nobody in there. And you ask for the manager, and you did get a little bit of the fifth degree, but not so much. He was just like, what's this regarding? He's like, he asked me to ask for him. Like, oh, okay. I'll go. And got the keys to the room.
And he was very nice. He said, like, hey, I'm really sorry about all this. Please wish your sister a happy birthday.
Right.
And do me a favor, if you like the new room, if you find it to your liking, please just put out a tweet or something like that, and just let people know that all has been taken care of.
Don't tell them it's like a car accident.
And it was very nice. Yeah, and again, I greatly appreciate it.
Take the time to watch. It's a 10-minute video, but you get a walkthrough of a room that probably most of us will never see. I can't imagine that in the next 10 years, given all things being equal between now and then, we would ever be able to afford that room.
Well, here's the thing. Like, maybe it's just me, but I don't. I would still pay for the shitty room, even if I had the money to pay for the nice room. Unless it was for something like if I'm going to Vegas for my bachelor party, and I'm having 10 guys stay in a suite.
Let's get a suite.
That's a completely different thing. Then,
or if some studio is paying me to write, and I've convinced them to pay for a room somewhere, maybe I get a nicer room. I would really appreciate that.
I mean, if it's on somebody else's dime, then by all means.
But for instance, if you guys have been following along on the podcast a little bit, when we went in April for your birthday.
Oh yeah.
We got a little bit nicer room, but really it was just a sitting area with a couch.
Yeah.
But we also had a free night through the hotel.
Right. So having the free night made it a lot more palatable to spend more than you normally would because you're trying to get the full value of that free night.
Yeah. So I mean, in the end though, this room was spectacular. Take the 10 minutes to watch the video. It is a fantastic room. Justin took care of everything. So we did send out tweets. We sent out videos. We tweeted the video. We Facebooked the video. Please just go through and I know it's really easy to get people riled up about something negative happening, but I would really like to get you guys riled up about something positive that happened, and be able to show that we have the influence to get a positive message out there too. So if you can just like it and just mention in hey, heard a bad experience. They took care of it. Thinking about staying at Flamingo at Flamingo Vegas next time I go. Honestly, the hotel itself was very nice. It's mid-strip. You really, location-wise, you really can't beat where we were.
Right.
It's adjacent to the In-N-Out Burger, which is really my most important part of that. And the big thing that we took advantage of this weekend more than we have before is the monorail being right attached to the building. So
I would have liked it if it was a little bit cheaper, like public transportation in most places are. But it's okay.
Well, and also
it's okay.
Our timing was off because if we getting the all day pass they had a weekend pass too, and if we had gotten the bought the weekend pass on Friday, which you can't do on Saturday, you have to get it on Friday. Then it makes it it's like $20 for the whole weekend. So that's super affordable. That's 4 trips, and we made way more than 4 trips on the monorail for the weekend. But nonetheless, it was very convenient to get all up and down the strip. Corey's parents were staying at MGM, which also is adjacent to a stop
on the monorail.
On the monorail, we were on the monorail, and where else? I feel like we went somewhere north that was also on the monorail. When we went to Caesars, we had to get off at Harrah's, but very close. Anyway, so it could have been disastrous, and it turned, and we had this fantastic room. And the one thing I would love to say is that evening we spent our nap time moving rooms instead of being able to nap. So when it came time, dinner reservations are at 6:45. We've got to get there by 6:45. We've got an hour before we need to start getting ready, which is not really enough time to nap. But it was very nice to have a little sitting area to just relax and unwind and have a drink. And that is what the couch is for. That's why we asked for the couch in the first place. And to have people over and just kind of sit around and just shoot the shit for a little while. And then, all right, I guess we should get ourselves together here and go to dinner. And I want to take... we've been on this a little. I don't want to just talk about the bad stuff that happened because the trip by itself was amazing.
Yes.
We had dinner at Lago on Saturday night, which was one of the best meals I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was a religious experience, this meal that I had.
I'm not a huge fan of the small plate thing.
Just
because I'd rather just have had like a regular sized thing of pasta.
Sure.
But, for sharing and stuff like that, it's fine.
I didn't share any of my meal. It was so good. I could not have shared it. I couldn't do it.
And then right after Lago, I went to go see Absinthe.
Well, before that, though, the other good thing about that dinner was I got to see Bill Baker, the rum shaker, in action.
Yeah.
Because he must have spent 10 minutes with the sommelier before we got started, just choosing wines. And I didn't have to do anything. I just sat there and Bill had taken the time to pick the wine. And the 2 white wines were delicious. And the red went really well with dinner. And it was, so great. Fantastic. Yeah. And then you went to see Absinthe. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. And Absinthe is a lot of fun. Yeah. So if you're looking for a show to do in Vegas, I would recommend that one. I don't really have a lot to compare it to, but that one was very fun.
But if you
I would say this, it's weird because in your OTA flashback, sometimes I hear us being a little bit dirty on the podcast. So? I mean, like our humor can be a little bit salty from time to time.
Sure. Yeah.
But there, I don't know. I mean, the show is meant to be very, very risque.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's nudity and sexual humor and everything like that.
If I had known that, I would have gone. I opted for the nap instead. But
there was one part of the show where there's basically like 2 hosts of the show. There's a main host, and then there's like a sidekick type of host. And she goes on, there's this thing where they're introducing the next act who's going to come up. And she starts going on this huge thing about this next guy is a really hot Indian guy with 6-pack abs and a turban. And when he takes his turban off, it's dick snakes. And they're like dicks and they go in you. And I'm just like, ah! And it's like, and I'm blowing the king cobra snake in the middle. And then it's just like, she's just going on like that for...
Yeah.
What felt like 5 minutes while they're setting up for the next act.
By the way, but sitting right next to you is your mother, and on the other side is your father.
Separated a little bit, but I mean, like...
So you got to hear the girl talk about dick snakes with your mom right there. That's cool.
I mean, my mom's old school. She don't care.
I think that's probably new school. That's not old school.
She's heard all this shit before. But I started doing the thing like... It's not if it's dirty but funny.
Yeah.
Then I'm fine with it. But this actually it became less funny as she continued because it was unnecessarily dirty.
If you're gonna vamp,
it's like when you're when you're 13 or whatever, and like you first start learning about like sexual humor,
right? And
you start making those jokes,
everything's sexual,
and it's not quite, or like everything's a little bit naughty.
That's what she said.
Yeah, or just like the like where he's just like, like, oh yeah, she got fucked so hard.
Watch It. There's that one kid, and it's like everything he turns into something.
Right.
That kid, yeah. But hey,
I mean, the actual show, like it's in the vein of Cirque, I guess, just because it's like circus acts.
Yeah.
A lot of like tumbling and balancing
but more sideshow than Cirque du Soleil.
Meant to feel more like a sideshow act, and they make fun of Cirque a lot during the show.
Yeah.
So,
one tip: if you go to the show and your friends choose to take a nap, and then they set alarms to wake themselves up and then walk back over to the show, and they're waiting for you, I don't know, 20 feet away from where you're going to get out of the show, don't leave them sitting there and go back to the room and not tell them, because that's super rude.
Yes. Well, to be fair, I didn't have my phone with me.
Right. And I didn't realize that you didn't
I would have if I had my phone with me, I would have seen your message and I would have gotten back to you right away.
Right.
I'd said to Rachel when we were like walking back to the room, I was like, have you texted Rob yet?
Yeah.
And let him know we're out? She was like, oh, no, not yet. And then
she checked and saw.
Yeah.
We were sitting inside at the fountain. Yeah. Waiting. That's cool. Yeah. Anyway. But so...
Do we have comments? I see a lot of comments.
Oh, yeah. So Alyssa, friend of the show, Alyssa, has worked in hospitality before, let's say. And just to go back to your story about the room itself, she said, that's false advertisement. It's a requirement to note the description of the room type, what may or may not be available for furniture and everything, in all caps. They owe you at least 50% of what you paid, or they should have moved you. And I said, just wait. And she says, hell yes, social media for the win. Yes, social media for the win. That's all you guys. And she said they did the right thing, but they should have done it the night before. And I agree 100%. They should have done it the night before. And that was basically our point. Is that they did the right thing. They did it too late. But again, I look at the difference between Justin and the guy you dealt with the night before.
Right.
They were night and day as far as managers go. And that makes all the difference. Alyssa is the kind of person who, she's a Justin Prince. She's like, all right, this is clearly not what we should have done. Let's figure out how to make it right. And we say the room with the couch, but in reality, what they did was they gave us two rooms. They gave us a room with two queen beds, and then a room with a king, and a setting room with a couple of couches and a couple chairs. So that's how you fix the we don't have a room with a couch situation.
Right.
And they had to eat a little cost, but
I mean, again, hotels, just by design, like much like if you go to see a Dodger game, the cost of you getting into the ballpark is whatever the cheapest ticket is.
Right.
The idea that there's an inherent value to, I mean, like there's a better view if you sit behind home plate.
Right.
Better amenities if you sit behind home plate.
Right.
But the actual cost to get you into the stadium is whatever the lowest cost ticket is.
Yeah.
Everything else is just bonuses to try and get you to a higher cost.
And
so, I mean, as far as like the economics of us getting into the hotel is the cost.
Right.
We were going to be there for a certain cost regardless.
Yep.
Moving us is they're losing out on the ability to sell that room or those rooms for somebody who might book them.
Right.
But clearly they're not booked.
That night especially.
Who is going to book it, that day and be like, I need the suite. They probably knew that this was just going to be vacant otherwise.
Yeah.
And if you were the Dodgers and you do a seat upgrade, you just move somebody from way up top to way down low.
Whatever keeps them happy.
The nice seat that you're moving to, if it's going to be empty,
right,
is worthless. Like
it's the set cost. That room only has value so long as there's someone in it at the time when you have it. Otherwise, you lose that night.
Right.
And I would assume that the room they put us in was empty 6 hours before.
Probably, but
or that they had something very similar that they would have moved us to.
Or maybe they, and listen, if they said, if the night manager, was a little less dickish,
right,
and said, tomorrow I have a room that I can move you to. Right. I'm sorry this happened, but I would I can't do it right now. It's a little late at this point to get you in there.
Oh, yeah.
But tomorrow we'll have it all square.
And it will more than make up for a few hours in this room, which it absolutely did.
Yeah.
It absolutely did.
That would have been fine. But c'est la vie. Anyway.
So that night the next night is when we went. So Saturday night, Absinthe. Then we went to a really cool lounge. What was that place
Fireside
called?
Lounge.
Fireside Lounge. We didn't get the actual fireside table, but like it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a cool little spot. The I don't know. There was like a weird feeling in the joint. I don't know what it was. I don't know what. Maybe just everybody was tired. Could have been that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
it was pretty late.
Yeah. But they gave us a free picture and then tried to sell us a $20 cardboard frame to the picture, which seems like a bad business model to me. But whatever.
It's not quite the same as like getting a picture of you on the roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the
which
roller
is
coaster
what they were selling.
Yeah. I mean, like at least that you get like the picture of like when you're going down the big hill and you're like, ah. Right. So
this is us like, hey.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Like I could have literally just handed my phone to somebody and gotten the same picture.
Exactly. Yeah. But then we went and got more Fat Tuesday at 3 o'clock in the morning because that's what we do. And Rob made the great decision to drink 48 ounces of Fat Tuesday approximately 15 minutes before going to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we went to bed at 4:30 and then we're up at 7
so
for the game?
I set my alarm for 6:30. The alarm woke up everyone in the room except me, and then I got yelled at to go turn off my alarm. So I got up, turned off the alarm, and then basically face planted back into the bed and did not wake up.
Yeah.
I still guarantee you I had a blood alcohol content that would not have allowed me to drive when I woke up. Like, there's no way. All of that Fat Tuesday. But we did eventually get up. We got up at like 7, I guess, and we meandered over to Caesars.
For their sports book.
To watch there. And my only regret of the weekend is that I didn't just stay in bed.
Yeah.
It would have been better off.
I knew I wasn't going to like this. I mean, for years I've been saying I don't want the Ravens to play in London.
Yeah.
And this was even before I lived on the West Coast.
Right.
And it sucks even more on the West Coast. Waking up at 6:30 in the morning is torturous.
Yeah.
And at the very least, if I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, I'd like to watch a football game, not one football team showing up and beating the shit out of people who I associate as a football team most nights.
I do have to say, though, that you made an interesting point. I think it was you, that Jacksonville goes over there every year.
Yeah.
And maybe they're a little more used to the, like, going to London to play in London.
I mean, I guess, but I mean, it's still not like... it shouldn't be that big of a thing, Like,
right. Well, baseball's.
We shouldn't get blown out 44-7.
Baseball's about timing, and the team got there 30 minutes early, so maybe that had something to do with it. But the one thing I was glad to see, we didn't actually see it because we missed kickoff, but the Ravens and the Jags were the first teams that got to respond to the statements from the president earlier.
Yeah.
So all during the slow times, they were replaying the half of the team, most of the team, kneeling during the anthem.
Yeah.
And some of the Jags did as well, but most of the Ravens did. But then after that, the game went, I don't know what, the defense that we had the last 2 weeks just decided not to show up. Jags put up 44 points in the game.
Joe Flacco looked like an actual corpse.
And we knew that losing Marshall Yanda was going to be a problem, but it looked like I don't know, that the line like was tied together, and I don't know, there was a 2-second penalty.
It almost looked like they were rolling dice before each series to figure out who was going to play what position.
Yeah. Okay. So who wants to play guard this time?
Yeah.
All right.
Like,
yeah.
Like we're just going to switch up. It doesn't matter if it's all just blocking people.
Yeah,
like,
just go block. It's fine.
Yeah, just go block.
So Joe spent like most of the first half that we saw on his back after basically every play.
But also, just again, this is going to be my level of argument, or my point about the Ravens.
Yeah.
Marty Mornhinweg and by association John Harbaugh need to wisen the fuck up, because I am fucking tired of this. At one point, like there was like 50 seconds left in the first or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was, 1st and 30 because of penalties or something like that. And they're throwing passes to Buck Allen just over the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
It was like 3 straight passes that were like 2-yard passes and like screens and out routes. And this is all things that are familiar to Ravens fans. But if you got to make up 1st and 30, then fucking throw the ball down the field. At least give yourself a chance to maybe get close to, like, cut up the... You don't have to go 30 yards on one play.
Right.
Go 10 yards on one play. Go 15 yards.
And I know you like to blame Marty, but I will say that one of those plays was designed as basically a draw pass, where it's like a little delayed pass to the running back. The other 2, Joe checked down.
Yeah. And there were open wide receivers.
One of them in the replay.
Yeah.
Like Corey on the first replay was like, hey, throw it to him. Oh, okay. Nope. All right. Not going to do that. Cool.
Just
like,
chuck down to Buck Allen, whatever.
We can see it on TV. And I mean, I know it's different when you're there in the game, but this is a complaint we had when we were doing the preview for the season. He's got to stop like going, all right, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. Number 1, number 2. Check it down, throw it down. Like you have to let it develop a little bit out there.
Right.
And keep your eyes up. And I especially against this week, it looked like he was just afraid of getting hit because he was getting hit a lot and he was just dumping it any chance that he got. And Doyle wasn't being very. He wasn't getting in the mix. So you're dumping it off to the running back who's not going to be as good at open field tackling against open field tackling as the tight end would.
Yeah.
So, you got to let some stuff develop. And I think next week is going to be the test.
Against the Steelers?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, if this team has any chance of
it'll be
getting to the playoffs,
are we good or not matchup.
So, we played the Bengals, which is going to be a middling team. We played the Browns, which is not a very good team at all. We played the Jags, not a very good team at all.
Earlier on a podcast, somebody said it's a shame that the Bengals and the Browns are playing each other this week because they should both exit this game being undefeated.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But so,
or being winless.
Being
they
winless.
should, yeah.
We'll have to see. So we haven't had a great test. We'll see if this is a playoff caliber team this Sunday.
Yeah.
And we'll have to get up at 10 o'clock in the morning to go do it.
So that's 9 o'clock and take the metro.
So we got up early. We went and watched
half of
the game.
No, 3/4. We stopped at the third. I was just like, I'm going to give them to the end of the third to try and turn this around. I mean, at that point it was 35-0 or whatever. But I was just like, maybe if they score 3 quick touchdowns somehow, we'll be right back in the thick of it.
No. We didn't stay for the touchdown that Mallet put up. So thanks to the backup.
But thankfully, he threw it to Ben Watson, so I got the
fancy point.
Yeah.
So now, and my question is, do you think that Colin Kaepernick could have put something together in the fourth quarter?
I mean, it probably. See here, I asked the question: is 80% of 80% of Joe Flacco better than 100% of Ryan Mallett?
I would say no. I mean, what I've seen thus far, no.
But I think 100% of Colin Kaepernick would have been better than 100% of Ryan Mallett.
Absolutely.
So under that pretense, I mean, I think you're talking about an injured Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Clearly, he's just not right.
Right. The elite quarterback who had negative passing yards in the game. I just can't even comprehend that at this point. But the other good thing about getting up early, the game at 9:30 ends. We go back and sleep for another hour, but then we're up, and we have to watch kind of the rest of the day. And though we got to see the Ravens first kneeling, we saw the entire NFL stand up and respond to some pretty nasty tweets from the president. And as you know, our current president prefers to do his public announcements by Twitter, which is strange, and it might seem strange to everybody.
He actually did this. So there's a runoff in Alabama, and I can't remember the name of the guy. It's Strange. It's like
Dr. Strange?
No, it's like Luther Strange or Victor Strange or something like that is running.
Is he Dr. Strange?
No, but he certainly does sound like the supervillain of some kind.
Could be a supervillain.
People the last name Strange can't be trusted.
Yeah.
But the thought process, he goes down there and just sort of goes off on one of his classic Trump tangents.
Yep. Stops looking at the monitors and
just starts saying
talking.
whatever he starts thinking about.
What's giving me cheers? All right.
And he said that anybody who kneels for the anthem should be fired, should be pulled from the game and fired immediately.
Yeah, was that? I feel like he used some extra special language in it. You should fire those sons of bitches.
Oh, yes, right, sons of bitches.
So let's keep in mind, when a group of white supremacists marched through Charlottesville, Virginia,
there were good
folks
people on both sides.
Yeah. But when a NFL player decides to kneel during the anthem, they're sons of bitches. By the way, I was really pissed off about Odell Beckham Jr., who is on my fantasy team, using his first touchdown to do like the dog. He did like a dog celebration. Dog pee. And then the second one was the like fist up. Did you see his explanation today?
No.
He was like, if you're going to call my mother a bitch, I'm going to act like a dog. Like, so it was like semi-political in his little thing. But anyway, so and then as we talked about in the pre-show meeting,
just makes me think back to Hard Knocks. Odell Beckham just like doing the pee thing. It's just like, is this okay? How about this? This is fine.
It's all about the eyes. It's all in the eyes. But so, although he made the comments at the campaign rally, he really doubled down on Saturday in a bunch of tweets.
And Sunday,
just basically like fuck all these guys and whatever they're standing for. I was happy to see everyone kneeling, and my Facebook. Ooh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy. What a split.
It's really weird to go on Facebook when things like this are happening.
Yeah.
Because you get an instant... I know immediately whether or not somebody, not even is a Republican or not, whether or not somebody voted for Trump based off of how they're reacting to this.
Yeah. The post I made today said there is a correlation between when you have someone who you care for, who is a person of color, almost 100% of the people were just like, I'm glad they're doing it. You know, this is fine. It's First Amendment and blah, 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 and all of that stuff. And then everyone who was saying, like, stand up, you bunch of bitches, or I'm burning my jersey.
Yeah.
Click on the friends, and you're going to see a real monotone palette of people in that friends list. So I just feel like it's not a causation, at least as far as my personal anecdotal study went, but there's certainly a correlation there.
Yeah.
But you and I were discussing this on Sunday, and I don't... Go ahead.
One of them specifically, and I kind of brought this up when I was discussing the issue with my father.
Okay, yeah. Which, by the way, never a good look. We avoided politics all weekend long. And then I heard
we
you
just got into it a little bit.
You guys got rolling, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to lay on the floor and take a nap.
There was one person I saw on my Facebook feed that said... Terrell, I can't believe Terrell Suggs took a knee. What a has-been.
Yeah.
2 weeks earlier, he was probably just like, Terrell Suggs back from the dead. He's amazing this year.
Woo!
But like now that he's sitting, he's like, like Terrell Suggs, that real son of a bitch. Like I hate him.
Yeah.
Like he should just go. I don't want this. Terrell Suggs, as a reminder, I can't remember the exact story. This is somewhat close to what happened.
Yeah.
But he got into a fight with his girlfriend, fiance, wife, and grabbed her hair out of the car window and then started driving and making her sort of run to keep up and to keep from being dragged from the car.
By her hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is what Terrell Suggs does off the field, but it's the kneeling and the quietly not killing anybody that is bothering people. Again, we have... It's the, oh, I fucking hate Michael Vick for what he did off the field.
Right.
But then when he comes back on the field and he's a member of the Eagles and you're an Eagles fan, it's like, well, he paid his debt. Like,
he paid his debt to society.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Michael Vick knees, though, sits on one knee.
Too bad.
Fuck Michael Vick.
Yeah.
He's the
47 players in the last, I think, 2 years. I think it goes back to 2015. It might be 2014, but have had accusations of or delayed or deferred judgment on domestic violence allegations. All of this is fine with you.
And again,
you guys are fine with all of it.
And again, those are the ones that actually go so far as to actually come to some sort of like
into a courtroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like the just for example, Ezekiel Elliott, who did something, and the girlfriend or the one he was seeing at the time or whatever it was, didn't want to press charges, didn't want to be involved, didn't want to. And then when you don't have a victim, it's really hard to press charges.
I think we discussed that on episode 179, so go back and check out our discussion about Ezekiel Elliott. No, wait, that would be 178. It was a preview for the NFL season, 178. But, yeah, all of these things are... Ray Lewis, a hero to so many in Baltimore, who, do we often forget, was on trial for being part of a murder conspiracy?
Accessory to murder.
Accessory to murder.
Yeah.
And he beat the charges.
That's the other thing. Like, Ray Lewis was there in London to help the NFL spread the good news of London.
Yeah.
Of NFL football to London. And he kneels down with a couple of the players.
Right.
Which is, Rob has his own thoughts.
Oh, I do.
But I'm seeing things on Facebook today where it's like, I think Ray Lewis his statue should be taken down. And I'm seeing videos of people burning Ray Lewis jerseys. Like, y'all, he kneeled on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get the song. You know, I understand that you want respect paid to the song and the veterans and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
But he was literally just kneeling on the ground, as opposed to in 2000 when he helped allegedly helped somebody get away with murder. Yeah. Like, this is I mean, somebody died at that.
Yeah.
On that occasion. Terrell Suggs dragging his girlfriend. That actually happened.
Yeah.
Him kneeling did nothing other than upset people who are going to be upset by anything that is the dog whistle of racism.
Right. So we're like running low on time, and I want to make sure we get to this because you did some interesting math over the weekend.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that we mention your great math that you did over the weekend.
So I basically took...
Well, let's set the stage first.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, prior to 2002, 2003, maybe it was later than that.
It was more recent.
2009, I think is what the infographic I keep seeing says. Yeah. There were no flyovers. The team stayed in the locker room for the national anthem. None of this happened.
They would come out for the anthem.
I think, but that only happened since post 9/11. That was not a pre 9/11.
Could be. Thing. I mean, like I don't. For as long as I've been going to Ravens games, I've seen it.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that was a.
I know that the anthem for football it's different, but almost every other sport the anthem is kind of just there. It's happening. Baseball, a lot of people want to get their stretching done and off the field before the anthem starts,
right?
So that they don't have to just be standing there
waiting.
Yeah. If you don't see them, if they're in the back, then they can just do whatever they want during the anthem.
Yeah.
But nobody cares about Manny Machado taking a piss while the anthem's playing,
right?
Because you don't see him kneeling.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, that's the part.
But
because it's such a disrespect to piss while the anthem's playing and all the soldiers and the veterans and they died for your ability to play baseball.
After 9/11 is when teams started coming out of the locker room and being on the field during the anthem and standing and doing the whole thing. But in 2009, things changed even more, and we got the huge flags on the field, and we got the flyovers happen for big games, but. Do you realize like how often they get a flyover now?
Well, now the Ravens would get a flyover like every single fucking week.
Yeah.
When they were playing.
So that is a shift that has not happened until recently. And Corey found some numbers and ran some numbers. So let's hear what the breakdown is.
Well, let's start with this. The Department of Defense, which is the government, has been paying sports teams to be more patriotic.
Right.
So, for example, if you go to a Ravens game, and the Orioles do this too, they'll do like, we want to take a moment to honor a veteran in the crowd, and they show him up on the board, and they do the he served 2 terms in Afghanistan, and was a POW and blah, 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 and like all his accomplishments, and it's like, he's here today, and we welcome him, and everyone's standing and giving him applause, which I'm totally for. But somebody who actually served, I will applaud all the time. But that is just being paid for by the government.
That is
the government is giving the NFL money to do this.
Right. Like when they do the crab shuffle at Oriole Park, and it says Old Bay. Old Bay pays for that. Yeah. So it's an ad.
Right.
This is an ad for the Army.
Right.
You too could be pointed out in a crowd during a baseball game. Just sign up for the Army.
They've realized too, and they're allowed to advertise. I mean, they have TV commercials and stuff like that.
They should not advertise.
I'm saying they do.
They do.
So
this is just another advertisement.
This apparently they learned is a better way of getting people to enlist.
Second only to
as opposed to like TV commercials.
Yeah, second only to showing up in your high school cafeteria when you get those bad SAT results.
Right.
And they're like, well, listen, SATs don't really matter here. Yeah. Hey, you're 17, sign on the line. Go die in Iraq. Anyway, go ahead.
Anywho, I did the math, and the cost to the taxpayer, average cost, because obviously
some of us pay more and some of us pay less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The average cost per taxpayer of the NFL that the NFL gets from the Department of Defense equals 35 cents for every person who pays taxes. So
now, who is the beneficiary of that 35
the
cents?
NFL.
The NFL itself.
Yes.
Now,
well, I mean the teams.
Right.
But
so
we're using the NFL as like a means of describing all the teams.
Teams. Now, when you say teams, what exactly do you mean by teams? Do you mean like the fans for the
No, like the
city?
Ravens.
Oh, so like the billionaire owner of the team is being subsidized at a rate of 35 cents
per taxpayer
by the American government.
Yes.
So it seems a little bit like, I don't know, like welfare in a way.
A smidge.
It's a smidge like corporate welfare, like a billionaire getting a payoff.
Or like how at Disneyland, the city of Anaheim built them a $100 million parking garage that Disney only pays $1 a year for.
Yeah.
But gets to collect all the money from the...
Yeah, food stamps.
They don't have to actually buy the parking garage. Anaheim buys the parking garage.
And they rent it.
And then they rent it. Yeah. And then they get all the money.
Just keep in mind, food stamps are a huge problem right now.
Yeah. And voter... People not voting correctly. Yeah. Voting in multiple states. It's another problem.
Yeah, huge problems. Anyway...
35 cents. 35 cents is the subsidy that the Department of Defense is giving to the NFL. And at the same time, in the same year, we spent 30 cents on average
per taxpayer.
Yeah, per taxpayer for giving veterans mental health care, which helps them with PTSD,
right,
which helps them with depression or any other mental health issue, which, as we know, in today's society is worse than it's ever been.
Yeah.
So you're going to pay 5 cents more to have flyovers and to have moments at the game where you honor veterans and where you do whatever else they have.
The big flag that takes up the whole field.
Yeah, the 100-yard flag.
Yeah.
And you're going to only spend 30 cents on the actual veterans who fought in the wars.
Yeah.
So I get that people... again, I understand if you don't like it. I understand if you don't like the thought of somebody disrespecting the anthem or the flag by doing this. But understand, deep down, the government is disrespecting more than the players are because they're giving more money to the NFL is a subsidy, essentially, than they are giving to the people who actually fought and died for this country.
Fought and wounded. No,
fought and wounded. Yeah, I mean, the dead ones.
I mean,
but though, eventually, you know, many of these people, I've heard of many people with PTSD who committed suicide because they couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
They kept hearing the sounds of the things that happened.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the NFL is just hearing the sound of dollar signs and cash registers.
And let's go to another point, because I kept bringing up the field-wide flag for a reason. Because everyone keeps saying, oh, it's disrespectful to the flag to kneel during the anthem.
Right.
Now, people may not know this. I posted about it on Facebook, so if you saw it, you're already going to hear about this before. But the United States Code strictly says this is how you're supposed to treat a flag. When you heard your father probably, or maybe a veteran at some point of your life say, "Never let the flag touch the ground."
Right.
That's not a sentiment. That is 10
flag
USC 10.301 or something. Like, it is in the code itself. Never let the flag touch the ground. Should it touch the ground, it needs to be given a military burial by fire. It outlines everything, but it also outlines in extensive sections ways that the flag can be treated with disrespect and thus should not be treated with disrespect.
Yeah.
Some of these things include not allowing it to fly free and in a vertical position. So, by code, holding it horizontally to the ground is disrespectful to the flag.
Yeah.
Having the flag be held in such a manner by someone who is not a currently serving member of the military. Also not good. Having it be turned into anything disposable, like, I don't know, paper plates.
Or an America Budweiser can.
An America Budweiser can, which you also are buying at NFL games.
Yeah.
Or any sort of trinket that you might get that's easily thrown away.
If you buy like an American flag bandana for 4th of July, technically it's...
Well, that crosses a different border because it's also not supposed to be turned into apparel.
Yeah.
And so your shirts, your socks, your hats, your bandanas, also disrespectful to the flag.
A picture of a big tit blonde wearing a American flag bikini is more offensive to the flag, according to the law, than Colin Kaepernick.
Than kneeling during it. And perhaps the funniest thing, the one that really tugs at my heartstrings the most, you're not supposed to, it's disrespectful to the flag to lay it on the ground. It shouldn't touch the ground at all. That's one section. It's secondly not supposed to be made into any item that should be sold. That's a second section. And a third section says you're not supposed to step on it. That is a third section of disrespect. I know at least 2 people who have American flag welcome mats at their house. So you are purposefully cleaning your shoes on an American flag that sits on the ground. That is 3 counts of disrespect, but you're really, really worried about Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. So let's ask, I wonder, what does that extensive code say about kneeling during the national anthem?
Nothing.
It says nothing. It says that people should stand during the playing of the anthem.
Remove your hat and stand.
Or at any time.
But that's usually, also just fun fact.
Yeah.
That was part of a baseball plan from a general manager.
Yeah.
The standing and removing your hat, because they wanted the fans to be standing right before the game started, so that after the anthem stopped, they were already standing and ready to applaud the team on the field.
Hey, well, there you go.
Yeah, because there was no other way to get people to just stand.
Well, just the people running out.
Yeah, you could have put, this is before the days of the big scoreboard where you could put stand up.
Right.
And,
so as soon as the anthem ends, everybody runs out on the field, and now we're already standing, so we'll clap for people. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and you get into the atmosphere of the game quicker.
Yeah. So when it all comes down to it, and I'm sure what I'm saying is not going to surprise anyone. I opened the podcast by kneeling because it is part of our theme song is part of the anthem. But
here again, real quick, just on that one, because I've also heard at different points in my life people say that Baltimoreans as a whole owning the anthem is disrespectful.
Right.
And I've always argued, I understand why somebody would think that it's disrespectful, but I argue that because it's a communal thing, because it's a thing we do as a city and a state, and we are part of this country, and that it is not us doing anything that is, we're all just choosing to say one of the letters.
In a chorus.
Yeah, in a chorus. Yeah. As a group. Yeah. It is not offensive. It is rather a rallying thing.
Sure.
Just like if if everybody after the anthem ended decided to break out into chants of USA, USA, USA,
which happens, by the way, a lot in 2001 and 2002.
But I mean, it's a vocalization of your support of the anthem. So the O in the anthem is just part of the same thing, in my mind, at the very least.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could get into, there's a lot of intricacies of this. I mean, Trump saying that they should be fired. Now, you've heard me argue before, the amendments are meant only to protect against government interference. So, yes, the NFL is an industry. Yes, the owners could fire anyone really for any reason. The collective bargaining agreement means they have to pay a lot of those people who they fire. But nonetheless, they could fire them. But when Trump, the president, says you should fire people who do this, even though they're not breaking the law, arguably that then becomes violative of the First Amendment because the government is instructing the owners what to do. And I posted a great video on Twitter, I think, by Shannon Sharp. And his addressing the hypocrisy of this, about how Colin Kaepernick he's not protesting the flag. He's not protesting the anthem. What he has said from the very beginning is that there are people being treated unjustly in our country. That justice is not equal. That
this flag, that America, as evidenced by the flag in the anthem, is not indicative of the way everybody is treated.
Right. Specifically, that young men of color specifically, but people of color generally are being killed at higher rates by police. They're not finding justice in the courts, and they're not being represented in Congress. And because of these things, he can no longer stand and offer that respect to a country that would allow their citizens to be treated that way. Yeah. That was his protest. And you have people like Ray Lewis, who, for the last, 8 months, 10 months have been saying, stand up, Colin. It's disrespectful. But now, all of a sudden, Ray is kneeling down. And what kind of fucking hypocrisy is that? That you don't care about the real issue that he's kneeling for, but once popular opinion has shifted and now everybody's saying like, well, we don't like Trump and Trump has said this, so now it's okay for everyone to do it. Yeah. Now you're going to kneel not only on one knee, but on two knees, which seems pretty appropriate for the sucking that you're doing. I don't get.
Let me try and fit one more thing in here before we go. First of all, I think Trump has to be aware at this point that if he says something like this and it's going to just gain a reaction from everybody involved in the industry. So like if he says something about football players taking a knee during the anthem, you have to understand that you are just going to encourage more players to do this because you brought it up.
Especially when you call them sons of bitches.
Yeah. Much like if Trump goes out and like when he's trying to get Dr. Strange elected in Alabama, he goes up on the dais and he says who's real assholes? Podcasters. Yeah. I hate fucking podcasters. They're the worst. I think we should just punch them all in the face for being so terrible and not being radio, because radio, you have to be good enough to be on the radio, and podcasters, you don't. Yeah. You know what you would hear? A shit ton of podcasts about people going like, fuck Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Which after this week may be the next thing that comes, because I'm sure it's been very popular.
But I'm saying it's Don't act surprised. Like the doubling down and the tripling down, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders today, like saying like, well, it doesn't really stand for police abuse anymore. Right. It's just people who don't like the flag. Right. It's like, no, clearly not. This is not.
It was never that. Yeah. And we have a comment in here. Roberto, friend of the show, Roberto, who you would see back on episode 160, 72, 73, somewhere there.
Something like that.
His comment, the problem I see with this whole kneeling issue is the fact that they're technically protesting the actions of officials and administration, amongst other things, which is true. That is what it's meant to be. Why take it out on the flag or the national anthem? Now, that's the point. They're not taking it out on the flag or the national anthem. The point is that when Colin kneeled for the first time, he said, I have a stage, and I want to draw attention to this issue.
He brought it up in press conferences.
Yes.
Like, and nobody said
listened.
Anything. Yeah.
And by the way, all of the...
And now, people... It caused such a scene that people are still talking about it a season and a half later.
Now, and great shift on the GOP's part, because we're not actually talking about the people of color being murdered and not finding justice. We're talking about how this is disrespectful to the flag, which is pointless, because as we've been talking about since he knelt the first time, this is really about the struggles of people of color in this country and the issues of race that have only gotten worse since Donald Trump was elected. But it's not about the flag. It's about him being on a stage and saying that I'm going to draw attention to an issue the best way that I know how. And to all the people who say, well, he should have done more than kneel. He has donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to charities to help people of color, especially young men of color, in at-risk areas. He has started a foundation to try and help bring football to people, to bring anything that he can to help out society.
He's also donating a lot of money to military causes because he is from a military family.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that people don't understand is that this is not about being anti-American. And I saw a great quote from one of my friends, and I'm going to butcher it, and I apologize, but it was reposted by a friend of mine. They were reposting a third friend of mine, and I didn't know that those people knew each other, which is interesting. Yeah. But nonetheless, they said that at what point did an action towards the flag or the anthem of a country say anything about the country itself? Why are we talking about the flag or the anthem and not about how the country itself no longer reflects the values that are supposed to be inherent in those two things? Yeah. Like the words of the national anthem, and by the way, we've talked about the national anthem, I think last year when we were talking about this, about how the second verse is basically...
Third
verse?
Third stanza.
Yeah. Really, really horrible. Really about the slave trade and a lot of racist stuff. Which I get being upset about that. But in the end, like the idealism of we are one nation and we stick together and we should like fight together and do all this stuff, but that's not a reality for a lot of people in this country.
Right.
And He puts his money where his mouth is. He puts his actions where his mouth is, and it cost him his career. Although I did see an interesting point that he may end up getting a job now. Now that everybody's kneeling, now it's not a big thing, and maybe somebody will take the heat.
But I mean, next week people aren't going to be kneeling. I mean, at the beginning of the season, there was only like 6 or 7 people who were kneeling. Yeah. So,
and we'll see how long it lasts. I mean,
my concern, and this is something I was trying to express to you yesterday, is that the worry that I have is that at what point are you satisfied?
Yeah.
And at what level do people get satisfied? I understand the idea of protest by kneeling for protest. Get it. Think about it like this: like West Wednesday.
Yeah.
They were going out there to try and get justice for Tyrone West.
No. They have been very clear that it's not about getting justice for Tyrone West.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It is about going out there and raising awareness about what is happening with the police in Baltimore. They want reform of the police.
But
part of that is bringing police officers to justice when they do things like this. But the whole thing was
I always saw it with like the hashtag justice for Tyrone West.
But honestly, that was during.
But I'm saying as an example, they go out there every Wednesday and rally in front of the city hall
or wherever.
If this Friday, Catherine Pugh decided to do something,
disband the Baltimore Police Department,
and met with them and took their concerns, and then immediately initiated them into action. We've changed the codes that they have to work by. Mm-hmm. Some of these things have to be negotiated with the FOP when the contract expires, and we can't do that right now. But we have told them that this is non-negotiable. These are the things that are going to be included in the negotiation. Yeah. I hope this satisfies you.
It doesn't. No,
but I'm saying, like, if Pew said this,
it still wouldn't be satisfactory because people have said that before.
Yeah.
These things are going to change. Just have patience. Just sit in the back of the bus for another 40 years and things are going to change.
No, but I'm saying there would be some things that she could do right away. There would be some things that she just contractually cannot do right away.
Why not?
Because she has to deal with the union.
No, disband the Baltimore Police Department.
Well, that's fine too, but
reorganize a Metro Police Department in Baltimore and then don't allow them to have it be a non-union shop. That's it.
All right. Well, I mean, whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying.
Using your example.
Let's just say she could wave the magic wand and she doesn't have to fix everything.
Yes.
Then they don't have a reason to rally anymore.
Right.
But there is no easy magic wand for most of these issues.
No, I would disagree. I think that they would stop meeting if the positive steps were taken.
But I'm saying that the argument I was having with Kaepernick specifically is that, like, there would be no one action that could happen that would probably satisfy enough people to get him to stand back up.
Well, no.
And at what point do you call it a win and stand back up? And what point do you continue doing this because it's never going to be enough?
How about
that's the problem. It's not a toggle, it's a dimmer. It's
I agree with that, but I think he made
for some people, if you said police are going to be, just make like one example, like police have to be tried on the same level as other people, as civilians, when they are found to be suspected of a crime.
Yeah.
That there needs to be parity in how police and non-police cases happen.
Right.
For some people, that might be good enough.
Right.
That might be the step forward that they need. But it wouldn't be enough for Colin Kaepernick, just example.
Right.
Wouldn't be enough for Colin Kaepernick to stand back up. So at what point does it satisfy him? And if he reaches that point, let's say it was that first level, do the people who support him say, how dare you stand back up? We didn't get what we need. Like, I mean, the problem is that there's no... It's very... We've used the example before of like Occupy Wall Street. Yeah. Like it's very like you didn't have enough. Your demands were unrealistic and all over the place.
You are making him the face of a movement that he never intended to be the face of.
I'm not trying. I'm just saying.
Listen. This is what I'm saying. He said, these are the things. This is the reason I'm kneeling. when he's satisfied that those things have been taken care of, he would stop kneeling.
Yeah.
And there were going to be people who halfway to what he's satisfied with are going to say, well, now you're just being greedy. Why don't you stand up already?
Yeah.
And when he does stand up, there are going to be people who say, that's not enough. We need to keep working on it. Why are you standing up? It doesn't matter. He's one man. It wasn't meant to be the face of a movement.
Yeah.
He wanted the stage, and I honestly think that he would be happy if our national discourse was about the fact that people of color are being killed by police officers, and they're not finding justice in a courtroom, and they're not getting representation in Congress. If we were talking about that, that would probably be midway to whatever he wanted. But we're not. We're talking about the disrespect of the flag. And I want to go back to one other comment, because Roberto did follow up with another comment. Just because they don't like Trump or they're upset by something he said, now y'all decide it's okay, and that's your way of saying F you. What does disrespecting your national symbols have to do with it? Now, I agree with you on that point, Roberto, because I think that most of the people who kneeled this week did it against Trump and not for the real point.
Yeah.
And I shared that Shannon Sharp video. Go to Robert N. Cheek on Twitter. Check it out. It's also at Founding Future on Twitter. I posted it both places. Watch the full 10 minutes. He does everything I would want to say about it without me having to say it. But my one other comment about it is, what does disrespecting your national symbols have to do with it? There's a really famous quote that says that when tyranny comes to America, it will come wrapped in an American flag and holding a Bible. Because we get so wrapped up in these symbols, the flag and the anthem and all of these things that are really supposed to be the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
We get so wrapped up in these things that are supposed to merely be symbols of the values that we hold as a country. And we're more insulted that people are not respecting the symbols than the fact that our country doesn't reflect those values anymore.
Yeah.
That's the entire problem.
It's just like the people who were upset when there were discussions about taking under God out of the Pledge of Allegiance. When it was written, under God meant sort of just deity in general.
No. It was put into the Pledge of Allegiance in 1952 in response to godless communism and us being different from them. So you're arguing like when the founding fathers put it under God in the Pledge of Allegiance. First of all, it was written in the mid 1800s, and under God was added in 1952. So none of that. They had none of that. In fact, the founding fathers hated stupid symbols and stupid actions that were meaningless.
Yeah.
They instead went for things of substance. This is the country that we are founding. We want it to reflect these values. So when people stop getting concerned about the national anthem and whatever disrespect you may see about it and say, hey, let's deal with the real issues that are plaguing our republic, that's when we're going to be making progress. And maybe that's when Colin Kaepernick stands up.
Also, one more tiny little thought.
Yeah.
I don't mean to go into conspiracy theory theater here.
Yeah, sure.
But if Trump hadn't said anything about the NFL, and all his friends, the 25 of 32 owners who were known to have given money to Trump and support him verbally at some point during the campaign,
of them paying for his inauguration.
Yeah. There's like 4 of them that were involved in that.
7 of them. One of them is being Daniel Snyder, which makes me hate the Redskins even more.
But despite the fact that they gave him all this money and helped him get elected and everything like that, they're going to fight against him and make a big public thing about this.
Sure.
And what would the NFL possibly be dealing with this weekend if not for that? Probably all the action. Oh, no, not all the action on the field. It was the fact that Aaron Hernandez was found to have one of the most advanced cases of CTE that had ever been discovered in a former player's brain. CTE, by the way, which has led to violence, attacking people, suicide, people who like there was the famous one of the lineman who got in his car because he couldn't deal with it anymore, and he started driving 100 miles an hour down highways just because he knew at some point he was going to hit something and die, and he didn't care about what happened in between. These are the types of things that CTE does, and it was found that a 26-year-old or whatever, what was Hernandez?
26.
26-year-old had one of the most advanced cases of CTE that had ever been seen. This is probably what the conversation would have been on SportsCenter this week, and instead it's players protesting Trump, and Trump doesn't care about being the bad guy, so he will gladly make some sort of statement.
And let's say that you switched over to CNN. What would we be talking about on CNN if it wasn't for this controversy?
Healthcare?
Yeah. The fact that the Republicans are once again trying to take away health care.
Yeah.
So this is a distraction that works for every rich white man in the country. Yay. The NFL gets their distraction from Aaron Hernandez. The owners get to go and be like, look how I'm down with you, bros. Yeah. I'm down here with the common man on the field kneeling, unless you're Jerry Jones and you make them film it beforehand because you're a prick. But otherwise, and then the GOP gets a distraction of, we're going to try and sneak this healthcare bill in again.
Yeah.
Because you got one last shot. Midnight, Saturday is it. After that, they
need go 60 votes, and they're not getting that.
They're never getting 60. And if I may have to fully rescind my comments on John McCain on next week's episode.
Ooh.
Because he once again said he would not vote for this bill because they didn't follow regular order. Not because he didn't like what was in it, which is part of my problem with him, but they didn't follow regular order, and he wouldn't vote for a bill that they didn't follow regular order. So he's out. Claire McCaskill's out, despite the fact that the GOP tried to literally buy them off.
Yeah.
By putting more money for their states in the bill. They're still saying no.
We'll talk more about that at the end of this week because it'll be a good wrap up of all the attempts to get rid of it.
Or we'll be concerned that our healthcare is going away if they actually do pass it. So we'll see.
In the meantime, if you want to see all the times that Rob has talked about John McCain, OhTheAnthem.com, Corey at OhTheAnthem.com, Oh The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com where you can find links to my political blog, foundingthefuture.us, the news website, and the books which are available on Amazon.
Buy Rob's books.
Thank you.
Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. One last time, shout out to Justin Prince at the Flamingo, Las Vegas. We want to make sure that we rescind the commentary about car accidents and not staying there. They did take care of us. So if you are looking for a hotel in Las Vegas, please consider the Flamingo. We had a fantastic time while we were there, and you should check it out. So this has been the... this has been the Oh The Anthem podcast, part of the Oh The Anthem Digital Network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum. Viva Las Vegas.
I'm not singing along with you.
I don't think you know this, but I am Vegas, all right?